What's going on, guys? Shonen Express here, delivering to you my special delivery of a series review of Psyren. Before we get started, there are spoilers ahead for Psyren if you haven't yet read this manga. I would encourage you to do so and then come back to this video. Psyren is a manga that was written by Toshiaki Iwashiro, who is notable for being a mentor to Ryuhei Tamura, author of Beelzebub, and Yuki Tabata, author of Black Clover. I believe that this manga is a hidden gem that deserves way more attention than it has gotten. Unfortunately, this manga comes off as forgettable to many, but I believe that it is a truly great manga. The first thing to note in this manga is the art. This is unfortunately a strike against this manga. One of the things that I look for most in a manga is the ability of the artist to convey an easy-to-follow style of art. There are many great examples of this, like Dragon Ball or even more recently Kingdom. However, this manga is not one of them. There are times where it is genuinely hard to understand what is going on in fights because it all feels very chaotic. The scenery, while most of the time good from a drawing standpoint, always looks a little too cluttered for me. The designs of the characters are also unfortunately a downside to the art. It seems like for most characters, Iwashiro was just trying to design what would look the coolest and most manga-like and simply made them that. Some designs don't tell us enough, like Yoshina, and others are a little too on the nose, such as Kagetora, who was clearly supposed to be a cool Yakuza design. I believe that the generic design of the characters is one of the reasons that this manga is known as forgettable. Speaking of characters, though, that brings us to our first pro, the characterization. I feel like one of the reasons that this manga feels forgettable is that the two main characters are, in my opinion, clearly based on the main characters of another manga, namely Bleach. Yoshina Uchiha is the main character of Psyren, and he is a punkish high schooler with incredible power, and Sakuraku Amamiya is a serious young-looking girl who acts as a mentor to the main character. If you have read Bleach, this is very similar to the main characters Ichigo Kurosaki and Rukia Kuchiki. They end up being very different characters, however. I believe this similarity contributes to the problem of forgettableness that this manga suffers from. However, there are many characters that I believe present interesting views that are not common among manga. The first is Hiryu Osaga. He could certainly be considered a main character, and I believe despite his generic appearance, he is a very interesting character. We see that as a kid, he was weak and kind of nerdy, but was loyal and protective of others. This desire leads him to training his body so that he can be the strength for those that lack it. In particular, his best friend Tatsuo, who he even puts himself in danger to help. I think it's cool that we see the strongman character become so based on his will, not natural ability. He is dependable and confident by choice, not by nature, and I like that. Next, I would like to talk about the villains. With the exception of one, almost all of the villains in this manga are shown to be rational people with varying emotions. Grana wants to find out why he exists and doesn't believe in morality because it doesn't fit with his goal. Number 7 wishes to contact her younger brother and is willing to sacrifice others to accomplish that goal. Amagi Moroku was abused and thus wishes for a world better than ours, but is not set on pursuing his own plans to get there, but instead is willing to do whatever it takes to get to that new world, even if that means sacrificing those plans. This feels refreshing to see villains who are rationally pursuing their own goals, and that is where the conflict comes from. The last group to mention is the kids of Elmore Wood. These kids are collectively some of my favorite orphan characters in all of manga. This is because I think that each of their characters are simple to understand, but not fixed. The setting of this manga is what really lets these kids shine, because we see them both as kids and as adults. We can see them change in an explainable way, but without the time that normally takes. Kyle keeps his cocky attitude, but is much more intelligent from maturing. Xiao is more grounded, as he has learned that the more spacey he is, the more he alienates others. Frederica is less trigger-happy from maturing and now only gets angry when those she loves are in danger. Mary is more confident, as she was made the leader of Elmore Wood and thus has more responsibility. And maybe most of all, Vaughn is able to go from a near silent kid to an extremely talkative person so that he can use his powers more effectively. Thanks to the setting of the story, we can see the natural progression of these kids' personalities. Speaking of setting, that is another pro for this manga. The premise of traveling through time to a place that is unrecognizable is cool. Not only that, but because we are given landmarks such as Mount Fuji, the characters can naturally find out what's going on by themselves. Having the two different time periods helps for developing the characters who don't travel in time, as I said before. This is also a good way to introduce natural loss to the story, as you can have the Elmore Wood kids die in the past, but still be a part of the story going forward, leading to good development for Yoshina in the process. This also blends nicely into the next pro, which is the plot. I think this manga's plot is really cool. The time travel mechanic, which is usually very confusing, here is very simple. We understand the situation well before we even know that we are traveling through time. This helps keep the plot streamlined. The goal as well, then, is made very simple. We need to use the knowledge from the future to change the past. This is then made harder by the rule that drifters can't tell non-drifters about Psyren. This makes this goal difficult to accomplish, but very clear from the start. And thankfully, the ending does involve accomplishing that goal, and even saving most people that were involved. One of the major cons for this manga, however, is centered on the ending. This manga has a terrible escalation problem toward the ending. This may have been more natural if allowed to happen gradually, but it was too fast. There are many characters that were introduced at the end that I believe could have been dropped. The entire Scourge team was not needed. The same goes for Yoshina's dad. Specifically, the most heinous example of this is Mithra, the supposed main villain. She is not needed and only serves to confuse the plot. It's not just the characters that feel this way, but even the power system seems rushed. The power goes from understandable to absolutely absurd, and things like Nova never needed to be introduced, and frankly, don't make sense. However, even knowing that, I still feel that the power system is still a pro. This is my favorite example of psychic powers in all of manga. I think it is really cool how Iwashiro organized this power system and how people can have such a wide variety of powers. These powers, I believe, also fit their wielders very well. Xiao, being a very analytical person, develops the ability to deconstruct other abilities by understanding them. Kurosaki is scared and desires safety at first, so he can see impending danger, but later, wanting to change that nature, he develops the ability to reflect attacks. All that said, I really do believe that this manga is a really good one. Iwashiro unfortunately never found any more success in Shonen Jump after this manga, but I am thankful that he gave us this manga. All things considered, my score for Psyren is a 7 out of 10. So, with all that being said, I really did enjoy Psyren, and so my half a point of flavor is going to go up, making the final score for Psyren a 7.5. Like I said, I did enjoy this manga. I would definitely encourage you to read it yourself, but for now, that's all I got for you today. If you liked anything I had to say, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I bring you manga reviews every single week, along with my weekly rankings. At the end of the week on Thursday. So definitely subscribe to my channel. If you have anything to say, please leave it down in the comment section below. I'd love to have a discussion about Psyren with you or about anything else manga that you want to talk about. But for now, this is Shonen Express, signing off.